trial former. Oh, we are in for a long case. Hello, welcome back to P-Storm. I am Pluvius Lelon, and today we're playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and we are on the first trial of episode 5. So let's just head into that courtroom and kick some ass. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they're suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there's one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. I was gonna say, you're not alone, Phoenix. You've got Emma with you.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to a crime. A professional witness.
Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. The cough-up queen.
Haven't I seen you somewhere?
You ordered the caviar lunch, right?
Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before.
The judge is really wolfing it down. And for you, I have a Fiesta bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? And you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste?
So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca.
What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted to say? Or is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating.
Hurry it up.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
Huh? What exactly does that mean?
Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Starr was a detective?
Aha! I know who you are. Cough up.
Cough up Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr.
Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutors' spaces, yes? Or, I think that was the judge saying that. The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor.
Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Health update. I am feeling better than I did when I recorded the last episode, because, as you can probably tell, because I'm not coughing or clearing my throat every 5 seconds. But yeah, I am still a little sniffly, still get a little bit of the post-nasal drip, but it's, it's not like... Again, I'm not clearing my throat every 5 seconds. Just a little cough, that's all. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it?
Your Honor, this is the most cut and dry, copy and paste, cock and balls case I ever did see.
Well, Mr. Wright?
Can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr.
Wait, are they talking about me? Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she'd thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching.
As you can see, there's no room for doubt.
The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. No, Emma, he's quite dead.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
How'd you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they're used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I'd found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I'm a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr.
This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes. This boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with lunches, thanks.
Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like... how would you say... oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds.
I have no idea what that means.
Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese.
A young cheese? Young cheese?
A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. Wait. The color of cheese, does it have anything to do with its age? I thought yellow cheese was like dyed. Like, you know, or yeah, I thought like yellow cheddar was it's just white cheddar but with yellow dye on it. I could be wrong though. Man, now I gotta look this up, it's bugging me. Is yellow cheese just white cheese with dye? Okay, yes, yellow cheese is essentially white cheese with added dye, usually in the form of annatto, a natural plant-based coloring extracted from the seeds of the achiote tree, which gives it the yellow hue. The only difference between the two is the added color, and the taste is generally the same. Suck on that, Miss Starr. Like, suck on something else, I don't know, like a popsicle.
That I must be hard yellowed and sharp as a tack.
Don't suck on that. You might get cuts on your tongue. Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. By garish car, you mean... Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it?
Indeed it was. What an odd case this is. But the person you saw, you're sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I'm certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness. In your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That... that was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
A photograph? You took this?
The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap! I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes was rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck.
Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now?
You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Well, this most certainly is the defendant.
Uh-oh. That is unmistakably Lana Skye.
So, what was the defendant doing at the time?
The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all.
Yes, that's about right.
Prosecutors are, by nature, well-versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my sausage salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean, a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor.
So the defendant was holding a knife. What then?
Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise her knife to strike, no?
The defense has a point.
Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late.
Too late?
Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon.
I see.
It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it.
You said that before. Anything else? Victim's still dead, by the way.
Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless.
Sounds pretty fatal to me.
What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty?
Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer.
Don't smile like that.
Holding a knife in her right hand. No prints. Well, I should have known that. Okay, her right hand. Okay, that makes sense. The blood is on the right side of her coat. Through the wire fence. I'm gonna do it. Damn. Alright, well, I'm stumped. Yeah, I thought, like, since the photo wasn't taken from behind a fence,
that was the contradiction, but nope, that wasn't it. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so I was supposed to present the crime photo at this statement. And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Sky stab the victim with the knife? As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. Is that an entire bottle of sauce? It's just rice and sauce.
I'm sure that's a fine lunch.
But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph he took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It's white rice and sauce. White rice is just empty calories. Then why is Miss Sky not holding a knife?
Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that? Mr. Wright, do you not see the blood on her coat? Blood splatter. Yes, thank you. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? I mean, they're not really dark crimson because the photo is black and white, but I get your point.
Oh, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Or maybe Detective Goodman was just a very messy eater.
Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Oh, no problem except you. Mr. Wright, are you just gonna sit there and take that kind of abuse? Yeah, you got a better idea? Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture of the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Sky was cold, calculating like a robot. Man, that is quite the face. That's quite the face she's making. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph.
Well, are those gloves?
Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Ah!
These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation.
Premeditated murder, a serious offense.
Witness, add this to your testimony.
What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves, of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, She came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime.
Ah! Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr.
This is bad. She's got them thinking this was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. Sorry, that was an email from the it was an email from the makeshift store. The Heiko's Bells plush is funded. I've got to think of a way to show that this wasn't premeditated. It's only How do the rubber gloves prove it? Or I mean, how don't the rubber gloves prove it, rather? Yeah, let's take another look. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell lunchboxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife.
What's with this case?
The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there? The defendant is the chief prosecutor of the district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder. And that's why she was wearing those special gloves.
Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning.
However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon? Oh! This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon.
Oh! Order! Order!
Great. Now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free.
Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie.
What?
I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail.
But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory.
Bah! The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove, nothing else.
Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing...
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us what you saw, not what you thought.
How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again.
The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy?
In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness.
I got you now. Again and again. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I know a couple people who would love that. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr.
What do you mean?
I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound.
Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth.
What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed?
Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one would ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. And believe me, I was getting a good long look at that breast. It splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify.
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Let's see, red muffler. You mean the one she wasn't wearing? Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you've finally found your true calling in life.
Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony just might be the moment of truth. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile.
You're quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Starr. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. It's like if I was drinking beer and alcohol. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Wow.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
So where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There was a wall here, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? Let's see. I don't think she was trying to hide. I think she was just... Nope. Alright, well, let's press the rest of the statements before I try anything else. Unless... Yeah. So you confused a muffler that only existed in your imagination for blood. You say quickly, were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details. I'd like to see this on the floor plans just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked on B block. So you witnessed the murder from here?
That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes.
Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence in front of you.
I went over it, of course.
Amazing. The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word?
So what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean... By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately.
Ultimately?
My memory... It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On
the wall?
That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone?
Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day.
Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. I saw it all, how she tried the phone on the wall but had to use her cell instead. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court?
Aha! I was going to ask the same thing.
only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time,
you climbed over the chain link fence.
Then when I boldly grabbed her arm, I stared dreamily into her eyes. And then the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? Yeah, I mean, how could you have seen her try to use the emergency phone through the partition? Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna try it myself before I look at the walkthrough. Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Skye. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, then I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Skye making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were on B block, you couldn't have seen it.
Yeah! Order! Order! What is the meaning of this?
It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. I'm so very straight.
That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court.
Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... shit, I don't know what she lied about. I mean, all of it, but... I'm gonna say where she saw it. Miss Skye tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What's significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it.
Pointless to lie. I see.
But say the witness did actually see Miss Skye using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location.
A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one.
Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it.
Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime?
All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The save file. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed this crime scene was here. Yeah, A block. Oh no, wait, the security room. No, shut up. If she was here, she could see the emergency phone.
That's true. That solves the mystery.
That would allow her to see the emergency phone, yes. But if she was there, she would have been able to arrest her well before she dialed her cell phone. Oh. You doubt my speed? I can run 150 feet in 9 seconds, you know. Is that really that fast?
Not as fast as your witty rejoinders.
Okay, let me try it again.
The security room.
This is the only place where she could have been.
The security guard room?
Indeed. The security guard room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot.
She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There's so many other places she could have seen the phone.
Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Boyfriend in heavy quotes. Well, Miss Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think the tables could be turned. Today a man has got the better of Angel Starr.
Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty. Is she talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands.
It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth.
What?
If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Huh? Me?
Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station, but she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? Yeah, let's save again. Distance to the crime, maybe? It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime.
My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the crime and... the distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see.
What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky?
Well, witness?
You... yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? Oh, that's me. The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. What the fuck are you talking about? I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
You see, they haven't invented Girlsenberry yet. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what was going on, or before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running toward the scene. So what's the lesbian equivalent of a beard? Okay, this I definitely gotta look up. Lesbian equivalent of a beard. That was the first suggestion on Google search. Okay, a purse. Yeah, that security guard is her purse. Yeah, I'm gonna. There are several different answers, but I'm gonna go with purse. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes? This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention. Almost as wonderful as Girlsenberry's.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Okay. Yeah, raise an objection. Objection! 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time. If you like al dente. I was gonna say, before he even finished saying that, I was gonna say, like, yeah, like you could maybe make al dente pasta in that amount of time. But if you're like me and your teeth suck, you want to cook that. You want to cook that shit for like at least 10 minutes. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor?
Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone.
But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time it was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable.
Yarr! Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant, and a blank in her testimony. And by grudge, I mean she probably wants to kiss her very badly. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it. We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close.
I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Hold it. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I'll take it.
I prefer not to take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say?
I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that?
Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes?
My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she gonna pull out of her lunchbox this time? I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There was blood found on that shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs.
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple, as I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen.
You should at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you've yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure the guilty are properly judged.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Why'd you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results.
The results?
How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing.
Then why didn't you just tell the truth?
Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it.
But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. let's just get this over with.
And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really.
In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next.
So you brought it to the forensics department. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective.
The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it.
Well, the man was stabbed after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman. As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. And the other... Oh. You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie? Huh. Well, speak up. Well, blood comes in 4 types. A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed, or whether a murder was committed in cold blood.
That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright.
Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there. Which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone's but Miss Lana Sky's.
So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe?
That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was gonna say that. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? There's a problem. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence.
Yeah, there's blood on the bottom. I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of his shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe.
Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of this shoe.
It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife.
What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe?
The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime?
Aha!
As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe.
This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. You bloody wanker!
Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort.
Order! Order! Well, witness?
What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction, but then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh. That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What?
I see. Now I get it.
Get what?
Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There's one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to the witness when she told us about apprehending the suspect.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Though she's beautiful but deadly, a predator this one, a leopard woman. Wow.
But I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do.
No kidding.
Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty?
Oh, that, I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness, well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water?
What does that mean?
Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that could have become evidence against her. Ah! That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoe tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, this guy's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
Mr. Wright, do something, please. What? What can I do? Your sister's confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But...
Enough. There's no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well.
But Angel Star's on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
Hold it. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. a lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else.
The time for deliberations has passed. Any further comments and you'll be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough up, Queen. Look at this.
A photograph?
I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error. I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo. Hey, it's clearly wet.
Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right, wet or not, don't be quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not to the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence.
Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Your Honor, wait.
What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can't it wait?
No, it can't. Then it'll be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem with this photograph.
The problem with this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Redworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no traces of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph.
A muffler is also a part on a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe.
I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. I'd like to muffle her with my tongue. Sorry, what? Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence.
Well, it seems we have to suspend the proceedings.
Sus.
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now.
This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime, after all.
Is he still hungry? Alright, cool. I was expecting that to go for at least an hour and a half, but yeah, we got it done in just over an hour. Oh, shit. I accidentally didn't save. Okay, Okay, save. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this video, then no further actions required on your part, and we'll see you in the latter half of the trial.